much. It's 7 p.m. Indian Standard Time, and it's indeed a great pleasure that we have been joined by our patron ICSI Padma Bhushan Professor Jagdishan Shetji, all the way from the United States. Pranam, sir. Thank you very much for being with us and being a part of this valedictory session, the closing ceremony. We have also been joined by Shri Anil Manocha ji. He is the new president of the ICSI who takes over the command today, and he comes from Singapore. And he is expert in water management strategies. And his slogan is, there is no shortage of water, there is a mismanagement of water. That's what I learned in 50 episodes, which we ran during the pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, hearty welcome. Since morning, 9 o'clock, we are on, and we are to the last session now, which is the valedictory session. We extend a very warm welcome to each one of you. And with the permission of the chief guest of the valedictory session, our Padma Bhushan Professor Jagdishan Shetji, we will show a little glimpse of whole day's proceedings, what all we have discussed. And thereafter, we would hear you, sir. And if you would allow, Anil Manocha ji can say a few words, and finally your valedictory address.
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. With these words, ladies and gentlemen, let me roll in and we get on to something. Hearty welcome to each one of you to the valedictory session, the last session, North India PRAVASI Divas, 29th Annual Convention of 2023, Future of Service Industry 2047. That's the vision of the Honorable Prime Minister Amrit Kal, what India would be when it would be celebrating 100 years of India's independence. And our focus today, throughout the day, had been on education, skills, technology, tourism, research, innovation, and of course, blended with entrepreneurship and community development. With these words, let me just move on. We have, since morning, distinguished guests for various panel discussions. We had school education, we had higher education, we had rethinking tourism, and thereafter we had medical tourism and wellness tourism, and thereafter dental tourism. And besides that, the technology, the new innovations which has to come, the new apps, the new edtech platforms, and across the globe, we got people, distinguished guests from the world over. ICSI extends a very warm welcome to all our brothers and sisters. Those are across the globe, wherever you are. Take care of yourself, take care of your health, and let's move on together and build a wonderful 5 trillion economy of India, which is the vision of the Honorable Prime Minister. And the best part would be if we can go beyond that and we tell the Honorable Prime Minister, sir, you gave us the agenda for 5 trillion and we are moving ahead of that. The Commerce and Industry Minister also has set the target for $1 trillion equivalent services exports, and similar amount to be going for manufacturing sector as well. Morning, we started at 9 o'clock, and thereafter we had various distinguished guests and we had various panel discussions. There was also besides the chief guest this morning, the Honorable Union State Education and External Affairs Minister, we got wonderful deliberations thereafter and a special address by Dr. Dharampalji, the advisor to the administrator, Chandigarh, and how Chandigarh is a hub for service industry for Northern India. And then we moved on, future schools, how they would be, what would be the future of higher education, digital way, how the things would proceed, then rethinking tourism. And thereafter, we had gone on to niche tourism. And then we talked about FEAST, the Forum of Educators and Scholars of Tourism. There are 1,035 universities, colleges, and institutions of higher learning. Those are imparting at present travel and tourism education in India. And our chamber is working hard to bring all of them together on a common thread, on a common platform. Thereafter, we moved on future of digital education. And Mr. Arpit Dukkar from Dubai, who was in Riyadh today, he made a wonderful presentation. Then we had gone to NRIs for Indian education from Canada. thereafter the MSME, and now finally we come to the valedictory session, where basically we would like to conclude and convey. This was the chief guest in the morning, Dr. Rajkumar Ranjan Singh ji, the Honorable Minister of State for Ministry of Education and Ministry of External Affairs, and he gave the total assurance what all we can do together and how to bridge all the gaps. And that was fantastic, which he released 3 documents of ICSI this morning. He released the Service Industry Compendium, for which we got the forward from our patron, and that is the 12 champion sectors. Although services sector has got 56 to 58 components directly of service industry, but Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India, way back in February 2018, focused on 12 champion sectors, where ICSI was the part of that particular journey and vision and roadmap and a strategy. So today we released Indian Service Industry, a strategic approach, the compendium. Now this will be available from Monday morning, 9 a.m. on ICSI web portal homepage, which is icsiindia.in. You can go through, it will be in the PDF form. You will have all 12 champion sectors, the vision, what is present status in 2023, and what is the future roadmap which we can develop. Thereafter, the Honorable Minister released the second document. In education, in skills, we need digital, kind of a journey. And there he discussed with us how we can have the digital inspirational lab. And there was a manual for capacity building of teachers and for the youth. That's for soft skills and the life skills. Together, we worked on the entire journey and we took care of that. Thereafter, let's move ahead. And we had another document released today, ICSI, as a token of gesture, as a token of love and affection, and the patronage and the passion which our president gave us. That is Professor Satinder Dhiman, the recipient of the Best Management Teacher Award from America. His book, which he authored, 7 Habits of Highly Fulfilled People, we today launched audio portion of that, which is of 8 hours, and we are going to get it onto the YouTube. We are going to get on the Kuku FM, and this is as a gesture. We are giving it to our immediate past president, to Professor Satinder Dhiman, and that will be available. Journey from Success to Significance audio launch today. And ladies and gentlemen, this was the audio launch. And basically, let's move ahead from here. Thereafter, we got the Chandigarh advisor to administrator, Dr. Dharampalji, and he discussed with us in detail what is his vision and how he would like to take the entire city, Chandigarh. And of course, we made requests to our new president who has taken over today from Singapore. How can we bring Singapore and Chandigarh closer? Because both the cities are almost on the same lines of the greenery, serene, clean, neat, and management and future strategies, how to make carbon neutral, carbon free city by 2030 in Chandigarh. So we will pick up a lot of good threads from there. Thereafter, we had gone on to future schools, focus education, skills, technology, and future teachers. And thereafter, we had gone on to higher education. What could be the future of higher education digital way? Focus research, innovation, skills, technology adoption. Professor S.S. Patnaik, who basically, his institution trains the technology-based technical teachers, trainers, that is in Sector 26 in Chandigarh. So our chamber has taken a pledge this morning along with him and B.Ed College, which we have got in Chandigarh in Sector 20 with Dr. Nanda. We would be setting up 2 inspirational labs in these 2 institutions, which will be digital way, which will be coming up. Thereafter, we had gone on to rethinking tourism. post-pandemic tourism business and small and medium enterprise, Dr. Subhash Goyal. He's the legend of the tourism industry, chairman of the Sikh Travels. And last 40 years, I have been getting a lot of valuable inputs from him. Thereafter, there was a niche tourism, which was chaired by Dr. Shilpi Mohan ma'am. She is at present in Central Asia. She's a consultant cardiologist. And we had a wonderful session. And we had in this particular session, spiritual tourism and wellness tourism, medical tourism, and related to education also, we had number of areas. Thereafter, ladies and gentlemen, we had gone, as I told you, to Riyadh today. And Mr. Arpit Duggar is based out of Dubai and head of business Middle East and Africa. And the future of digital education, how technology and education will enable the future fluencies, how the world will be shaped. That was something fantastic which he has given, all the technology based. Thereafter, we had gone to our CPA, Surya Vijay Shastri in Canada, that is NRIs for Indian Education. He is the financial strategist to chair and to help us what all can be done over there. Thereafter, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the chief guest valedictory address, that is India 2047, Education, Skills, Technology and Tourism. We are blessed that Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, Professor Jagdish N. Shetji from the United States, a global marketing leader who has been very kind to accept the the request of the chamber governing body and the advising group, and he takes over the reins as a patron of ICSI. We are privileged. We will be learning a lot from him, because when you think about MBA, when you think about management, when you think about strategies, the Philip Kotler book, the first chapter which came over there and which basically inspired Indians and Indian youth how to take MBA in United States, that was from there. Let's go ahead from here, and we will, I think, rest of the things Chitra will take on later. With these words, ladies and gentlemen, we extend a very hearty welcome to each one of you, and very especially our chief guest of the valedictory session. I wish to, before I go to my new president from Singapore and my new patron from United States, Dr. Shilpi Mohan ma'am is joining us from Central Asia. Dolly Bhasin ma'am is in Gurugram. Mr. Sachdev Ramakrishna, he's again joining us from Central Asia, Uzbekistan. He's a tech guy. He's a technological expert. Dr. Kirti Pradhan, he's a medical tourism strategist. And Jyoti Meshram, she is again joining us from Central Asia. They're wonderful people. And Professor Vivek Shankar Natarajan from United States, from Lamar University. But before, sir, we proceed further, I think we all need good health. We need mental wellness. We need physical wellness. We need spiritual wellness. We need economical wellness. The person who has done 127 webinars as a solo batsman, and that is India's one of the leading Ayurvedist, Dr. Parmeshwar Arora. When you will meet him today, you will see a handsome doctor. When Dharmendra entered the film industry, everybody was so fond of him and every heroine wanted to act with him. When I see this doctor, I think everybody will go for Ayurveda and they will say, let's leave. I'm sorry, with lots of hand folding I'm taking, we'll leave allopathy little behind. we will go to Dr. Parmeshwar Arora, the eminent Ayurvedist in India. Of course, Dr. Shilpi Mohan ma'am had been very kind as a cardiologist from the allopathy side. She shared the dais one day with Dr. Parmeshwar Arora and she told him, "Aap Ayurveda ko promote kijiye, main aapko pura platform deti hu, koi dikkat nahi." That was fantastic, which was coming on that day. So, sir, let's hear, and you will get something, because he starts with a prayer and he talks about Ayurveda. 5 to 7 minutes we give him, and thereafter we go to our president, and then we come to your valedictory address. And in between 1 or 2 minutes, we can give to people those have come all the way from Central Asia and other places. That would be very, very kind of you. We will try and stick to the time. I know. With these words, I request Parmeshwar Arora ji, please go ahead. We would like to hear you.
सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःख भाग् भवेत्। ओम धन्वन्तराय नमः। ओम शांति शांति शांति। इस सेशन में जुड़े सभी मेरे भाई बहनों को मेरा हृदय से अभिनंदन, प्रणाम। भाई गुलशन शर्मा जी को हमेशा से मैं चरण स्पर्श बोलता हूँ, आज भी चरण स्पर्श ही बोलूंगा। और सुबह से आज 9 बजे से ये नॉर्थ इंडिया प्रवासी दिवस का जो सेलिब्रेशन चल रहा है, उसके लिए मैं बहुत ही बधाइयां देना चाहता हूं कि इतना सुबह से आप लगे हुए हैं और अच्छे अच्छे वेबिनार्स एंड बीच में मैंने सुना भी थोड़ी देर के लिए, बहुत अच्छा लगा मुझे। काफी एक्सचेंज ऑफ थॉट्स हो रहा है फॉर द बेटरमेंट ऑफ नॉर्थ ईस्ट। हमारा पूर्वोत्तर जो है वो एरिया जहाँ पे बहुत पोटेंशियल्स हैं, जहाँ पे बहुत अच्छा हो सकता है, बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली अभी बहुत अच्छे से अटेंड नहीं किया गया था। बट नाउ द टाइम हैज कम कि हम नॉर्थ ईस्ट को बहुत ही अच्छे से देखें, बिकॉज बहुत पोटेंशियल्स, बहुत स्कोप है। एंड अब हम वास्तव में अगर अपनी इकोनॉमी को अपने प्राइम मिनिस्टर के विजन से पूरा करना चाहते हैं, तो नॉर्थ ईस्ट जो है वो बैकबोन की तरह से है, इसमें रोल प्ले करेगा, इसमें कोई डाउट ही नहीं है। एंड बीइंग आयुर्वेदिक स्कॉलर, बीइंग ए क्लिनिशियन, मैं ये कहना चाहता हूं कि आप कुछ भी गोल डिसाइड कीजिए। हमारे शास्त्रों में कहा गया कि जब हम जन्म लेते हैं तो डेफिनेटली सबका अपना एक बेसिक गोल होता है। कोई धर्म के रास्ते पे चलता है, कोई अर्थ के रास्ते पे चलता है, कोई काम इस फिजिकल प्लेजर की तरफ जाता है, कोई मोक्ष की तरफ जाता है। लेकिन इन चारों ही पुरुषार्थों की पुष्टि के लिए अगर कोई चीज बेसिक रिक्वायरमेंट है तो वो है हेल्दी होना। सो विदाउट हेल्थ वी कांट प्रोसीड फॉर एनी गोल। एंड हेल्थ के भी 2 एस्पेक्ट्स होते हैं, वन इज प्रिवेंटिव एंड सेकंड इज क्यूरेटिव। एंड अगर हम जनरली बात करें किसी भी पर्सन से कि आप किस एस्पेक्ट की तरफ जाना चाहेंगे, तो हमें जवाब मिलेगा कि हम प्रिवेंटिव हेल्थ की तरफ जाना चाहेंगे। वी डोंट वांट टू फॉल सिक। तो डेफिनेटली अगर आपको प्रिवेंटिव हेल्थ की तरफ जाना है तो आपके पास बहुत छोटे छोटे काम हैं, जैसे आपने लोगों की डाइट ठीक करनी है, आपने लोगों की लाइफ स्टाइल ठीक करनी है। एंड जो सीजनल छोटी छोटी बीमारियां होती हैं उनको केमिकल मेडिसिन से ना ठीक करके होम रेमेडीज, जो हर जगह की अपनी ट्रेडिशनल रेमेडीज होती हैं, सो कॉल्ड किचन रेमेडीज, उनके लिए लोगों को अवेयर करना, उनको बताना कि उनकी जो किचन की स्पाइसीज हैं, दे आर सफिशिएंट एनफ टू ट्रीट द कॉमन कोल्ड, कफ प्रॉब्लम, फीवर, लूज मोशंस, कॉन्स्टिपेशन, जनरल बॉडी एक्स, हेडेक। ये हमारी जो जनरल किचन की जो हमारी स्पाइसीज हैं, दे हैव गुड पोटेंशियल टू ऑल दिस सीजनल एंड डे टू डे प्रॉब्लम्स। सो जब हम खाने की बात करते हैं, जब हम लाइफ स्टाइल की बात करते हैं, जब हम केमिकल मेडिसिन को छोड़ करके और किचन रेमेडीज की बात करते हैं, तो वहां पर इस पूरे विश्व में अगर कोई साइंस है जो हमें इन तीनों चीजों में परफेक्शन के साथ साइंटिफिक तरीके से हमें गाइड कर सकता है, वो है आयुर्वेद। एंड फॉर्चुनेटली दैट आयुर्वेद बिलोंग्स टू इंडिया एंड सो दैट टू नॉर्थ ईस्ट ऑल्सो। जब हम किसी को प्रिवेंशन की बात करते हैं, जब हम किसी को खाने की बात करते हैं, जब हम किसी के अच्छे लाइफस्टाइल की बात करते हैं, जब हम किसी को सोशलिज्म सिखाते हैं, जब हम किसी को स्पिरिचुअलिज्म सिखाते हैं, तो डेफिनेटली हमें एक माहौल चाहिए जो बहुत प्योरिटी वाला हो, जो पोल्यूशन फ्री हो, जो केमिकल फ्री हो। मुझे आज ऐसा लगता है, ये बोलते हुए मुझे गौरव है कि पूरे इंडिया में अगर हम प्योरिटी ढूंढने जाएं, पोल्यूशन फ्री ढूंढने जाएं, अगर हम कहीं पे केमिकल फ्री एनवायरनमेंट ढूंढने जाएं, केमिकल फ्री सोल ढूंढने जाएं, हमारी जो सॉइल है उसको भी हम ढूंढने जाएं कि हमारी भूमि जो केमिकल फ्री हो, अगेन नॉर्थ ईस्ट जो है वो सबसे फ्रंट में हमें खड़ा हुआ नजर आता है। सो इन शब्दों के साथ कि हम उस लैंड को प्रिवेंटिव हेल्थ के लिए एक बहुत अच्छा टूरिस्ट स्पॉट बना सकते हैं, बहुत यूजफुल स्पॉट बना सकते हैं। जो इंडिया के लोग हैं, जो शांति चाहते हैं, प्रिवेंटिव हेल्थ चाहते हैं, रेजुविनेशन चाहते हैं, डिटॉक्सिफिकेशन चाहते हैं, एज वेल एज आवर ब्रदर्स एंड सिस्टर्स फ्रॉम अब्रॉड ऑल्सो, जिनको हम यहाँ ला सकते हैं अच्छी हेल्थ के लिए, अच्छी प्योरिटी माइंड के लिए, प्योर सोल डेवलप करने के लिए, अपने को आत्मचिंतन करने के लिए, सोशलिज्म सीखने के लिए, स्पिरिचुअलिज्म सीखने के लिए। मुझे लगता है कि हमारा जो हमारा ईस्ट है, हमारा नॉर्थ है, ये बहुत अच्छा है, एक बहुत ही अच्छा स्पोर्ट हमारा बन सकता है। तो इन शब्दों के साथ कि डॉक्टर गुलशन शर्मा जी बिकॉज बहुत अच्छे से कन्विंस्ड है कि प्रिवेंटिव हेल्थ के माध्यम से हमारा हेल्थ टूरिज्म जो है वो बहुत स्कोप रखता है, बिकॉज नोबडी वांट्स टू फॉल सिक, everybody wants to learn about diet, about lifestyle and about the kitchen and home remedies. तो मुझे लगता है कि जिस तरह का पोल्यूशन हमारे नॉर्थ ईस्ट में है, हम वहां पर अगर लोगों को लेकर के जाएंगे, वहां पर पे इस तरह के रेजुविनेशन सेंटर्स, प्रिवेंटिव सेंटर्स या उस तरह के इंस्टीट्यूशंस खोलेंगे जहां पे डाइट, लाइफस्टाइल एंड इस तरह की होम रेमेडीज के यूनिवर्सिटीज तक हम खोल सकते हैं। मुझे लगता है कि लोग यहाँ पढ़ने आएंगे, सीखने आएंगे, तो नॉर्थ ईस्ट एक बहुत अच्छा स्पॉट हो सकता है। इस तरफ भी हम ध्यान देंगे तो ये जो एक बैकबोन हो सकता है, हमारा जो सो कॉल्ड इतनी बड़ी इकोनॉमी को अचीव करने का टारगेट है, उसमें डेफिनेटली हेल्थ, एंड हेल्थ में भी प्रिवेंटिव हेल्थ, एंड प्रिवेंटिव हेल्थ में भी पोल्यूशन फ्री एंड प्योर सॉइल, प्योर सोल, chemical free northeast will play the vital role. With all good wishes and बहुत सारी शुभकामनाएं और बहुत सारी बधाइयां और साधुवाद डॉक्टर गुलशन शर्मा जी को देते हुए मैं पुनः आपकी ऊर्जा के लिए, आपकी प्रेरणा के लिए और आपके जज्बे को सलाम करते हुए अपने शब्दों को यही विराम देता हूं।
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Parmeshwar Arora ji. Ladies and gentlemen, world over, he is an eminent Ayurvedist in India. I have tried number of times, like for allopathy, I go to Dr. Shilpi Mohan ma'am. For Ayurveda, everybody world over, right up to Canada, United States, Australia, Middle East, all the places, people are so fond of Dr. Parmeshwar Arora ji. May God bless you, and may you keep, in this humble way, adding the value to the whole universe the best way. Now, there are two unique things which I just wish to share before I just move for 1 minute each to everybody. Arunachal Pradesh has got maximum green belt in India. Arunachal Pradesh has got maximum land green area in India. And number two, maximum herbal plants which are available for Ayurvedic medicines are in northeast part of India. That is something which we have to take. And now, fortunately, our new president is from Southeast Asia, ASEAN. We have to work out a strategy how Southeast Asia, ASEAN should be brought closer to Northeast, and how Northeast should be brought closer to North India as a national integration. We give 1 minute each to Mr. Sachdev Ramakrishna, Dr. Shilpi Mohan ma'am, and Jyoti Meshram ma'am, and let them share a quick vision, because since morning you all have contributed. Now, because it's a valedictory session, have a minute each, whatever perspective you wish to give over here in the valedictory session. Who would like to take the lead? Yes, Sachdev ji.
Thank you, Dr. Gulshan, as always. This has been a fantastic day. I think I have learned more than perhaps I've shared among eminent educationists. So my view is, like all industries, including ours, which is IT, everything is being challenged for the fundamentals, right? We all have to prove our relevance in the world, right? So even education perhaps is being tested simply because these are unprecedented times. Both for the educator and for the learner, there are, everything is undergoing seismic shifts. Today, students use perhaps Dr. Google almost as a parallel teacher to second guess their teacher, right? So for teachers to build trust and confidence and expertise in a fairly democratized knowledge available world, is quite a challenge to keep ahead of the times and to show their unique skill. So I firmly believe that one should go back to perhaps old traditional ways of teaching, and I often lean on old Greek principles such as the way Socrates and Plato led discussions for social revolutions, right? How does the teacher just become a mentor, a facilitator, be able to show the mirror with, of course, some structured curriculum and framework to help students find their own answers? So I think that's, one. Two is, if you take a country like India, I mean, there are a variety of educational audiences. There are youngsters in villages who need livelihoods, and the kind of training, education they need has to be very different from the elitist education that people in cities with more privileged backgrounds aspire towards, right? So I think that's, one. Two is, as we heard in the morning, there's a need to connect both heart and mind in education. So therefore, there's as much need to focus on liberal arts, which tend to be a little bit non-linear in terms of content, versus the more specific curriculum that we see in engineering or computer science, where logic and one prescriptive way of doing things is that. And the third thing is, how does curriculum become more agile in a world where now we have metaverse and IT, artificial intelligence, robotics, newer technologies coming in, and no static curriculum can ever keep pace? How do countries and societies stay agile to yet not just create employability, linking learning outcomes to employability, but also to create entrepreneurs, because they're the ones who are going to create jobs. So those are my thinking. So everything is kind of up for redefinition, and these are unprecedented times, and digital is a very powerful tool for democratizing knowledge and diffusion of innovation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, Mr. Satdev Ramakrishnan ji. It's wonderful. All three statements are powerful. Let me go to Dr. Jyoti Meshram, ma'am, and just unmute your mic, ma'am. Let's have you for a minute. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much, Major Dr. Gulshansharma ji, for giving me this opportunity to attend this session and listen to such eminent personalities and understand what is going around the world. I missed a lot of things in the morning, so I'm sorry about that. But then, talking about education in Central Asia, we see that there are a lot of international universities. I teach for some of the international universities myself. And when we talk about entrepreneurship, yes, things are happening here, but the great need is there for the incubator. So I think that is one area that the government and the people should work upon, the university should work upon. If we provide good incubators and good exposure and guidance to the students, the entrepreneurship can really flourish here in Uzbekistan. That's my experiences. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Dr. Shilpi Mohan, ma'am, our advisor in the Central Asia. Please go ahead for a minute.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gulshansharma, for giving me this opportunity. And first of all, I must confess that I'm not just a cardiologist, I'm a holistic healer. So I have got no issues whatsoever with Dr. Parmeshwar Arora. We work hands in hand. And because as a part of treatment, we have to definitely tell the patient what to do and what not to do. And for that aspect, we have to definitely deal with lifestyle modification, for which Ayurveda and yoga becomes an integral part. Treatment includes, whenever we give medical treatment, as Dr. Parmeshwar Arora will also agree, it includes prevention, treatment, and rehabilitation. So I would like to give it a slogan. For prevention and rehabilitation, we have to look east. For treatment, yes, as of now, maybe west, but yes, for prevention and rehabilitation, we have to look east.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Very kind of you. That's something is a key. And Dr. Parmeshwar Arora ji, what is coming to my mind? the next 5 sessions which we are going to have Sundays, कल session नहीं करेंगे क्योंकि आज 12 घंटे की मैराथन हो गई. But from the next Sunday when we start, let's take 5 sessions on knee joints replacement, and once again getting them into the same form which was there, and their movement and everything which was there before replacement, and how do you regenerate the entire thing once again. 5 sessions we will take
Dr.
on.
Shilpi had given us 3 words, one is the prevention, second is the treatment, third is the rehabilitation. So basically she is saying that Dr. Oda should take care of prevention and rehabilitation. So joint replacement will be done with Dr. Shilpi, and I will rehabilitate, and first I will prevent.
हम प्रिवेंट करेंगे, प्रिवेंट के बाद अगर हो भी जाए तो उसको रिजुनोवेट कैसे करेंगे, वी विल वर्क ऑन दैट सर. थैंक यू. विद दीज वर्ड्स, प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर कीर्ति प्रधान जी, आर यू देयर? No, he's not there. Okay. Dolly ma'am, you spoke just before, but still I give you 1 minute so that I should not be, getting down somewhere in the protocols. Please go for a minute.
Thank you, sir. So I would like to speak on future of work, because that's something that we have to really be prepared for. Future of work is not going to be the same the way it is currently. Every work which is going to be done in the future is going to be done differently, which will be more of without touch, that is remote, or it could be done in a very, very different way, which has to be imagined. It's probably not there. It could be phygital, it could be digital, it could be some third way of doing things. So we need to really reimagine the way we will do work, which is definitely going to be tech enabled, whether it is tech enabled through local or tech enabled through the internet, metaverse or NFTs or whatever. So in the whole this thing paradigm, my personal take is that services will be delivered like products, and products will be delivered like services. And there's going to be complete merging of products and services, and we'll have to really kind of understand that paradigm which is going to be there and prepare ourselves. We as facilitators and we have a responsibility, a shared responsibility to take it to the next generation. With that, I'd like to rest. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I once again check in the protocols. Is Dr. Kirti Pradhanji there? Okay, fine. If he's not there, let me move to my new president. Heartiest congratulations, Shri Anil Manocha ji, taking over as a president today of the International Chamber for Service Industry. We will keep learning in the times to come from you. And he's joining us from Singapore, ladies and gentlemen. And he's the water management expert. And we had about 50 webinars with him during the thick of the pandemic. And he brought a lot of experts from the world over, and also something like crisis in the South Africa, Brazil, and I don't know what all case studies. And we also got inputs on how Singapore transformed its water management system and strategies. That was mind-blowing where he started, and it was a wonderful. I appreciate that, sir. Let's hear the views of our new president, and we take on the journey with Shri Anil Manocha ji.
Good evening and festive greetings to all. I am really humbled and obliged to be part of this distinguished gathering of people who are experts from various fields like tourism, medical, technology, and all those things. My background is more into water, and I am a water professional working in a private sector. So anything what we do, we bring economic factors attached to that. And this is the way we have been sustaining our business for the last, I should say, 40 years plus. When I talk about the way the future is unfolding, I do agree with Madam Dolly that yes, service and products are getting integrated, and we are feeling a lot of opportunities like that. We are also experiencing integration of technologies, though I may be in a water space, but integration of technologies like AI, digital, and so many things get combined and we offer solution to customers. Maybe at this platform, we will be interacting more with all of you, and I will try to do my best to bring whatever we have learned and whatever we experience in various parts of the world and how it can be done in India. This year, India has a presidentship of G20 summits, and Prime Minister Modi is a part of G20 summit, which is going to create a lot of focus in Asian continent. And let's see whether we can get mileage out of that and whether we can get some opportunities for our fellow members and for the chamber. With this, I will rest for the moment. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Anil Manocha ji. And ladies and gentlemen, now let's get to our patron, ICSI, Padma Bhushan, Professor Jagdish Sheth ji. It's very, very difficult for me to introduce him and to, share what he has brought to the global fraternity and to the ecosystem as far as management is concerned. For that matter, I would request Professor Vivek Shankar Natarajan ji to kindly formally introduce our patron ICSI, Professor Jagdish Sheth ji, and then we will have his vision, management, MBA, future of MBA, future of service industry, future of India, how India is moving ahead, and where we would be in the Amrit Kal up to 2047, and how ICSI should work and how we should progress and how in a humble way we should contribute. Vivek Shankar Natarajan ji, kindly introduce formally our patron ICSI.
Namaste.
Sir.
Yeah.
Vivek, short introduction, please.
Absolutely, sir. I don't know how to make things short when it comes to introducing Dr. Sheth, but let me start by wishing everybody a happy Makar Sankranti. When this is the day the sun is going on the upward trajectory, and so we have to look forward. And what better person to lead us to looking forward than Dr. Sheth? He's a visionary. He's one of the pioneers in the field of marketing education and also institution building. But again, following the directives of my guru, Dr. Jagdish Sheth ji, he's like a Vishwa Guru. He's the real Vishwa Guru. I'm going to keep it short. He serves as the professor of marketing at Emory University in Atlanta. But that is just one title. He has several things, and he's a very generous person in terms of both sharing his wealth and his wisdom. A true son of India, very, very committed to India's development. And so that is the reason today on this auspicious Makara Sankranti day, when we fly kites, he's going to teach us how to fly high with his vision for India in the service industry, sir. I hope I kept it short. So the floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Vivek. And of course, thank you, Dr. Gulshan. I have been quite amazed how much ICSI has done for the service sector. It's just mind-boggling to see the impact you are making already in transforming the services economy and the industry. So I'll make a few observations and suggest the future of services industry in general, maybe specific to certain sectors of the services industry, but I'll keep my comments more general, and then maybe we may have a little dialogue if necessary. Services sector now contributes 50% to India's GDP. It is the largest compared to the agriculture sector and the manufacturing sector. It's growing faster, and therefore by 2047, the vision, services sector is estimated to take over about 60% of the total GDP in a fast-growing economy, which says it's going to grow 1.5 to 2 times faster than the normal growth that's taking place right now. And this is due to several factors. First one is that services industry generally is a low asset industry, as we call it. You don't have to have enormous amount of capital dollars to invest into it to really start, except of course the airlines industry, telecommunications, but the traditional industries can be actually started much quicker, much faster, and therefore it can grow faster. Technology has enabled enormously, especially during COVID time period. The e-commerce platforms that came in, the home delivery business, if you analyze the e-grocery delivery in India, it's fantastic actually. And I'll talk about some of the things one can improve. But I think the technology has been a big factor, especially the cell phone industry revolution in India. Both China and India have gained enormously. So here is a technology invented in America, commercialized in America, but it is lost it to Asia primarily. And I think with the emergence of smartphones, as they're penetrating more and more, and with very affordable platforms for networks, such as the Reliance Geo, for example, I think we are going to have much greater growth, unlocking the potential of the service industry. Second factor is even more interesting. If you look at the next generation of people, same family, the next generation of people are behaving very differently. There's a discontinuity from one generation to the other, at least in the way you live daily. Next generation of young people will not learn cooking, cleaning, and childcare. Remember, this is when you do it at home yourselves, does not add to the national GDP. Biggest outsourcing is not Indian IT services doing work for the world, but biggest outsourcing is happening at home. So most of the meals are prepared by somebody else. Most of the meals are bought from outside, delivered at home. We are behaving very much like a typical modern society all over the world. That is true for cooking, that is true for cleaning, and that is true for raising children. So, baby centers or kindergarten, etc., kinds of things are happening enormously. That's a huge, huge change because when you do a commercial activity, it adds to the GDP, and the ratio from the raw materials that you buy, let's say in cooking, versus the value in the marketplace, value add is about 3 to 4 times. That says that whatever raw materials we buy amplifies enormously. So we are going to see growth of those industries even, which is, I'll come to a point about service-driven products versus product-driven services. Third area, equally important, is export potential. Government's vision of $1 trillion export services, export economy, I think is underestimation. IT services and IT-enabled services has already crossed $250 billion. Especially during the COVID time period, there has been more remote work done. And now for the first time we see in India, all the major Silicon Valley companies, whether it's a Google, Microsoft, any one of them, will invest their own development centers in India. India has the scale in terms of the manpower, for example, and they will not outsource to outside companies such as the TCS or Wipro or Infosys, but they will build their own. In fact, you can already see in accounting, Ernst & Young has 50,000 employees working in one location alone in Hyderabad. Largest employer in IT services today is Accenture. Think about that. And I was with Wipro on the board for many years, and I just visited them, and they already crossed 250,000 employees themselves. So India will become the largest employment for services sectors of the world, which is a very important one to realize. And I think the potential will be much higher as we move up the value chain, whereby we offer services which are more professional certified rather than manual services. Manual services where we began, like manual labor in agriculture, but I think we are going to move up, and I'll come to that. Now, this is all great news, but services sector is still what I would call a rough diamond. It can be polished and enhanced even more, and my estimation of 60% of the GDP by 2047 may be an underestimation. So what are the issues with the services sector? First of all, it is still highly unorganized. Except for the new technology-driven services, such as cell phone services, such as, for example, airlines, which are the new mode of transportation in India. Other than that, banking to some extent, they are organized, but most of the services industry is unorganized. And how do you make it organized? Because on an organized sector, you don't have the scale. You have the size, but not the scale. So how do you create a scale and you get the scale economies in the process? Services sector is still largely unbranded. While we do have the branded banks and branded telephone services and branded newer technologies, but still we have a massive, massive opportunity to engage into branding. So how do you create branded services becomes a very key issue. And the last thing equally important is that services sector has a strong variation in quality. I can get excellent service or I can get a poor service from two different competitors or within the same company at two different times, within the same company by the same person at two different times. There's a huge variation on quality. And just like in Japan, Deming actually put, who was a statistician, quality assurance on products. We need to have something like a Deming process to make sure that our quality and skill sets are standardized to a level where it's delivered again and again at an exceptional level. The last element, of course, is that services industry, even today, is a cash economy. So 50% estimation of the GDP may be undervalued. It's still a very large cash economy, and as it gets into more and more digitized economy, primarily through GST mechanisms or whatever they are, or more technology put into the retail scene, I think we'll see much greater growth. So ultimately, the summary is that we have the size. India is a large nation with large population who is capable of working, for example, not large size, but it has no scale. So fundamentally, service industry needs to go from unorganized to organized sector and from low tech to high tech. And I'll talk about how to get into the stuff. First thing one has to do, and ICSI can be a very good catalyst actually across government agencies and the private sector. Invest in frontline people. We do not do that well. In fact, nobody does it. You start as a frontline person, you move up the career, better people move up further, who is left behind? We have to have a program where there's a universal commitment to frontline people in their skills plus their technology enablement. How can you give the devices in their hands? They're able to make a decision based upon algorithms, as all technicians do in America. Today, they don't call back a boss and say, here is the price, here's the delivery. It is already on the handheld data device, more like an Apple type device. Every technician who comes to our house in America today carries the device, or a very large cell phone, as it is true in India. So investing in frontline technology and investing in frontline people is very key, and especially skill set. There are two skill sets with frontline people. One is what I would call the soft skills skill set, and the other one is the typical competency-based skill set, certification of some sort. But soft skills is much more important. Ultimately, you are in service business because you care, especially in the health industry. People work as medical doctors, people work as Ayurvedic experts, people work as nurses, people work at all things because they believe in the cause. There's a mission-driven attitude. So how can we take that passion and make it into a compassion? Competency is fine, but compassion is equally important. And service industries and services differentiate themselves very well on how compassionate people are, and what matters there is selection as much as training. So that's clearly one key area of huge polishing the rough diamond to create a value. As you know, a rough diamond to a polished diamond, a good diamond cutter increases the value by at least 15 to 20 times. And some diamonds are very exceptional, obviously. Second area is processes. Services industry still is not as much process driven as ad hoc driven. Adhocracy, as I call it, not a bureaucracy. When situation happens and you scramble and get it done, and like a crisis management, we improvise very well. But I think in this case, one needs the discipline of processes, as it is happening, of course, in many of the IT, technology-based industries, service industries. So processes is very, very important in terms of creating an architecture which somehow a nation can do it, is a whole process-driven nation across services sector, but processes is a second major area, whether it's a order-taking process, for example, order fulfillment process, for example, or payment process, for example, whatever they are. And we're doing a fantastic job. I mean, we have to take a pride that here is a nation which is otherwise an emerging economy, probably has the best UPI platform in the world, and we are exporting that platform now. We have to take a pride that Aadhaar, which is a biometric database of 1.3 billion people, no nation has anything like it. So we are very capable. If we decide to invest in them and make a national commitment of some sort, either as a collaboration, as we did with cooperatives in dairy products in my generation 60 years ago when I left India. It's very fascinating how dairy products where the cow will come to the house, you will milk it in front of us, etc. But today you have the massive cooperatives like Amul and many more Amuls. That cooperatives was a key movement nationally. I think one can create a similar movement around here. But how can we create processes? Next area has to do, in fact, with creating systems. Systems is infrastructure, both physical. As we add more ports, as we add more airports, as we build better highways, the services sector will benefit. In fact, my estimates runs that infrastructure that you invest, systems that you invest in manufacturing gives additional 1.5% GDP growth generally. In services, surprisingly, it's almost 2.5%. It gives a kick, it gives a multiplier, it enhances the whole services sector to the next level, which I think so. Systems is very key, which is physical system, but equally important now is digital system. And the last area is one that I strongly believe in. In services industries, I'm an educator myself. I don't work for money alone. What drives me is to unlock the potential of students, potential of staff people, potential of my colleagues, etc. It's a mission-driven approach, purpose-driven. So I think we need to learn that I think somehow, how can we train our people where they believe in whatever they do at two levels? They believe in the occupation, whether you are a hospitality person, or you are a medical doctor, you are an educator, school teacher, whatever services are. But second thing is that you take a nation's pride, that I can show to the world that I'm the best. The soft power of the nation comes from people, as much as it comes from branded products. We have a whole history about product-driven soft power of Japan, from a low-quality, cheap goods in my generation becoming world-class manufacturer, followed by South Korea the same way. Today we have the Samsungs, the Hyundai in the automobile, and of course we have the LG Industries, world-class, even in most demanding nations like Germany or America or Sweden, they stand up to competition. There's a pride. There's a national pride behind those companies and the products. Same thing can happen for us about the services. And I'll give an anecdote and I'll stop that, Vivek, if it's okay with you. I have traveled quite a lot. In my younger days when I travel, especially in Europe, first of all, they don't look in your eye with respect or admiration. Every time I go, they would all often ask me, are you a diamond merchant? Today, when I travel in Europe, they think, are you an IT professional? Isn't that interesting? With a smile, with kind of excitement, with admiration, you can see the body language of people as you travel all over advanced economies. So I think having a nation pride as a part of mission is as important as occupation pride. And I was in India for 3 weeks, and I stayed in several hotels, and you could feel that some hotels create that pride in their occupation. I saw in one hotel people working for 25 years, still happy, still wanting to do more and more and more. I saw some other hotels where there were young people who really wanted to train themselves very well, but wanting to go abroad as a part of the multinational chain of hotels and hospitality industry. I will tell you last point. India, I've done a lot of work on Indian tourism actually. I was first of all surprised that out of 1.3 billion tourists in India annually, which number is large, vast majority are Indian tourism in India. Most of them has to do with pilgrimages, religious places, visiting, etc. But it's all done unorganized way. Handoff is not right in many ways. So how can we organize it? So market is actually Indian market as much as export market in tourism. Export market in tourism is going to be primarily specialty tourism or niche tourism as you called it the conference. There are about a dozen niche things where India is the only place to go. And there is a fantastic opportunity, not only, of course, our history and the civilization and the excellent, incredible archaeological findings that we have, or temples that we have, but also surprisingly many of the natural areas. And again, somebody mentioned Northeast. Northeast is a fantastic opportunity if one can organize. So organizing medical tourism, and I was surprised to find worldwide medical tourism, the biggest thing is dentistry. People go abroad for dental care from America, whether you're Russian, whether you're Hungarian, doesn't make any difference whether you're Latin American or Indian, because cost of doing dental work is so high, and therefore even governments are blessing that medical tourism would be allowed and paid by the government, such as in Canada, or national health systems in United Kingdom. I can go on, but I do want to mention that fundamentally, Indian economy could not be driven where the products create services. I buy an automobile, so I need a financing, I need repair maintenance. I buy a home, same thing, I need repair maintenance, furniture, etc. Today, the reverse is going to happen. Services will generate manufacturing. There is a whole series of products in healthcare. New beds are made, new equipment is put into every patient room, for example, diagnosed. It's all services-driven manufacturing, which we have never thought about it. So one need to articulate, maybe have a position paper through ICSI about services generating manufacturing in India. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Very, very kind of you. Thanks a lot. It was such a pleasure to hear your valedictory address. And I'm pretty sure a lot of things have come through. And we will be in a position to take this entire agenda forward. And the new year has started wonderful. And the journey has started wonderful. And all the things are going to be something amazing under your leadership. There's a lot to learn, because we still recall how you brought MBA to India, how you brought management education to India, and people like Vivek Shankar Natarajanji, who had been giving me a lot of valuable inputs about you from time to time. And indeed, it was a great treat for my soul, my spirit, and pleasure to see you in person and to meet you and to pay my respects to you. I'm so indebted, and I become more humble. There's so much to learn from you, sir. And with that feeling and with that passion, we would like to convey our deep gratitudes and thanks to everybody who joined us today for the whole day since morning till this moment. We had a wonderful audience. Honorable Minister also dedicated and devoted more than an hour this morning, and he gave the total commitment that I would be more than happy as an education minister, external affairs state minister, to whatever I can do with the ICSI. And his passion and his devotion was that how Northeast and North India should be brought together closer as an integration part. And the vision, what you have given to us, we will work in that particular direction. And with that, sir, we come to the closing. And I would request Chitra ma'am to take on the journey with regard to the awards and honors. And we convey our deep gratitudes and thanks to everybody world over, whosoever joined us from the morning, 9 a.m. till this moment. There are many people. There's there are so many people on the YouTube. I'm just reading their names right from the morning till this moment. They're passing on comments. They're enjoying. And some of them, they are educators, they are teachers, they're academicians. I'm going to say it's a humble beginning, and the year has started something wonderful. And with these words, ladies and gentlemen, ICSI conveys its deep gratitude and thanks to each one of you for giving us the strength, giving us the vision, giving us the dynamism. And under the leadership of our patron and president, we are sure we will work leaps and bounds. We'll grow. We will add value to the humanity and to the universe, whatsoever best we can do. Of course, we'll bring synergy between allopathic and Ayurveda also in a humble way, nicely. That would also travel further. I fold my hands and I hand over to Chitra Kapoor, ma'am. My deep gratitude and thanks to you, sir, and everybody. Chitra Kapoor, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And now to present the awards virtually, I would like to show a presentation in which we have compiled all the mementos which we distribute virtually to everyone. And I'm glad that sir has given me this opportunity. So just bear with me, and I'm just sharing my slide. So honors and recognition to all the dignitaries, those who have joined us today. And to begin with, the very first memento to Honorable Minister of States for Education and External Affairs. Then to Shri Dharampalji. And none other than Padma Bhushan Professor Jagdish N. Sheth, sir, who's our honorable patron as well from today onwards. Immediate past President, sir, Professor Satinder Dhimanji. Shri Anil Manocha, sir, whom we welcome as our President for ICSI. Professor Vivek Shankar Natarajanji, our Honorable Advisor from USA. Professor Paul Prontip Sri Narulaji, our past President and Senior Advisor. Sri A.P. Sharmaji. Professor Shyam Sundar Patnaik, sir, Director NITR. Professor Aarti Shrivastava, ma'am, from NIPA. Mr. Sachdeva Ramakrishnan ji. Rahul Agrawal, sir. Mr. Vivek Singhal. Dr. Parmeshwar Arora ji. Dr. Shilpi Mohan, ma'am. Madam Anuradha ji from Canada. Professor Dr. Sanjeev Chaturvedi, sir. Dr. Tarun Sandhu, sir. Mr. Arpit Dugar, sir. And Honorable Dr. Subhash Goel ji. Captain Swadesh Kumar ji. Mr. Amit Kumar. Mr. Subhash Verma. CPA Surya Vijay Shastri Kotamarti, sir. Dr. Priya Vishweshwaran ji. Mr. Vikas Malhotra. Mr. Sudhir Sopti ji. Engineer Dolly Basin, ma'am. Dr. Gurpreet, Madam Gurpreet Sehgal ji. Dr. Kirti Bhushan ji. Mr. Tyrone D. Brass. Venerable Dhamapia ji. Honorable Bishop, sir, Reverend Bishop, sir. Venerable Ravi Medhankar ji. Dr. Pushpa Kataria, ma'am. And these are the few of the awards that we have presented, but I'm overwhelmed listening all of you, the way you have presented whatever you have from your own field, and it is like something enriching that has come today, and we are really, really thankful and indebted to every one of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And the last award goes to Chitra Kapoor ma'am and her entire team. They worked very hard. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just the face to be shown, but it's the hard work by this child, this little child of mine. She's working very hard with the entire team. I'm proud of her. And, with these words, I become more humble, and I would request Professor Vivek Shankar Natarajanji to say his prayer and final remarks, and we close the session.
Well, Gulshanji, first of all, I think I speak for myself, but I think I speak on behalf of all the awardees. Thank you for the honor, because the honor is just a significant recognition that we need to do more, and it's probably a signal that we need to be doing more. The vision that we need to be, what we need to be doing has already been said very succinctly by our patron, Honorable Dr. Padma Bhushan, Dr. Jagdish Shethji. So I think I took away a lot of things, but he brought the metaphor of the diamond. But indeed, I think today we are all going to be diamond merchants, because what is the diamond? The 1 billion plus population, the young population of India, these are all rough diamonds to be polished. And I think he really said we need to be polishing the rough edges in the service sector. So I think that's the key takeaway. And how do we accomplish that? We need some institutional mechanisms. And I hope we can deliberate on that for the next 1 year or so. And that, when we talk of polishing, that quality, process, all that kind of falls into that metaphor, sir. So I just thought that was very, very, it kind of gave a very overall theme for what we need to be doing. We were also blessed in the morning with the august presence of Honorable Minister Dr. Rajkumar Singh, who kind of holds two portfolios that is very, very dear to people in this audience. One is, of course, education. Most of us here are educators, or at least have a passion for one. And if we don't have a passion for one, Gulshanji will make us passionate about education. That is the power of Gulshanji.
Sir wants to say something. I think
yes,
sir wants to say something.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Dr. Sheth.
Sir.
No, I was basically saying so true about education. I think education, as I made comment before, if you take a grain of wheat and make it into a loaf of bread, the value add is only about 3 times agricultural commodity. If you take a rough diamond and polish it, a good diamond cutter, as I mentioned, value add is 15 to 20 times. But if you take a human being, mentor, educate, polish, the value add is infinite. All of us come from very humble beginnings. None of us knew our potential. It was somebody either in the family or at an educational institution way back in the primary school sometimes, but definitely high school, who basically monitored you and said, you have a high potential. What can I do to influence your mind to achieve more? And at college level, that's what we do. So I believe very strongly that our real asset is our people. Now, how can we basically democratize the whole notion of uplifting everybody? And I think it requires education as a key platform, any form of education, whether it's a physical education. And I must tell you, I did not mention that, but I think the India will become a global hub for education as it used to be in the ancient days, pretty much. University concept was created in India first, then it traveled all over the world. It's very fascinating to look at the history about our ancient 3-4 major academies, as we used to call in those days. But to me, I think education becomes the backbone of how to transform the rough diamonds into finished polished diamonds. I'm sorry to interrupt. I didn't mean to say.
No, Dr. Sheth, actually, since you gave me that input, I'm going to talk about one specific example. 1960s, there was this young boy who came to University of Pittsburgh and who just studied under one of the greatest minds in consumer behavior, Dr. John Howard, and that they wrote the paper, the famous Howard-Sheth model. So please, that has become a legend in itself. So you are a living example of how one teacher can change and how that interaction between teacher and student can lead to creating an institution. And today, Dr. Sheth, has become a giver. So many people he co-authors with and he gives back. So when he's saying that he's literally polishing several diamonds. And anybody who comes in touch with him, even if they are a stone, they become a diamond. That is the power of the Guru. That is what we said in our Shastras, and Dr. Chet is a living example, sir. So it's so honorable that you kind of mentioned that. It's such an honor to be on the same platform with you, sir. So I think we all agree on the theme of education. But Dr. Singh, who came in the morning, the minister, was also in charge of NRIs. And it was a wonderful conference that we had. And the vision that he set, especially for the Northeast, was very, very pertinent. I think between the two themes, everything gets encapsulated. We had a session about Chandigarh. We had a session about healthcare. We had a session about education. But in all of these, what is the takeaway? Because I think since my job is not only to propose the vote of thanks, but also to say that give the overall theme is how do we polish the diamond that is the Indian service industry. That, Gulshanji, I hope is the theme for the next 1 or 2 years, where ICSI can become that lead institution, that knowledge think tank, where we are dedicating our resources to this mission. How do we polish the rough diamond that is the Indian service sector? So my gratitude to everybody who spoke, and my gratitude to all of the audience, and my gratitude to Chitraji and her team, because at the end of the day, we are all here on the front, but there is a big team that is putting us in front, keeping us the back end team. Literally, that is a service industry happening there. These are your frontline service workers that is making this team possible. And personally, I know Gulshanji, today has been a very challenging day. I'm not going to go into the details, but in the spirit of our Honorable Prime Minister, you're a soldier. You are soldiering in face of adversity, sir. I think there cannot be a better exemplar in terms of service leaders. So thank you for your leadership. And before I also want to thank my other guru, Dr. Satinder Diman, who served as the president yesterday. And my greetings to Anilji for his successful tenure. We are all with him in this journey. So with that, sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Let us pray for prosperity on this auspicious Uttarayan as the kite is soaring. Let our imagination soar. And we've had wonderful session. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I will add on the Ayurveda prayer also with this of final prayer, Dr. Parameshwar Arora, which you do every Sunday. Let the world hear. Let the world hear.
Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Dhanvantraya Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Namaskar. Thank you very much to everybody. Our deep gratitudes, and of course Chitra Kapoor, Ajay Kundal, and the girl from Northeast, that is Habung Asha, a golden team of mine, along with 40 other people who have put this show today. I'm proud of all of you children. God bless all of us under the leadership of our Padma Bhushan Jagdish, Professor Jagdish and Shetji, and the new president Anil Manocha ji, and all the dignitaries those have come. Dr. Jyoti Meshram ma'am, your memento would be prepared later on because you had been very kind to join at a short notice. So that would be prepared and sent across to you. You had been very, very kind. So with these words, let's close the session. Let's call it a day. Let's pray to the Almighty that Vishwa Guru Banna hai Bharat, Bharat ka samman karo. That is the way we have to go ahead. और वो कहते हैं ना, वो मणिकर्णिका का क्या है, मणिकर्णिका का एक बड़ा अच्छा सा है, मैं भूल जाता हूँ अब एज के साथ साथ, देश से है प्यार तो हर पल ये कहना चाहिए, मैं रहूं या ना रहूं भारत ये रहना चाहिए, सिलसिला ये बाद मेरे यूं ही चलना चाहिए, मैं रहूं या ना रहूं भारत ये रहना चाहिए. जय हिंद. धन्यवाद. थैंक यू. नमस्कार.